Hey, welcome everybody. We are here with Mark from Grid. I know you guys have been seeing a lot of Grid in our Discord, and we just want to kind of get that information out there. We've been Grid sales on, Grid sales off, Grid sales on, Grid sales off. Well, Grid sales back up, and we just want to make sure that we're going to get the right information out to you guys. I just want to sit back, and talk with Mark, and kind of see what's going on. So, Mark, why don't you just introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Well, thanks a lot. Very happy to be here, and obviously working with great partners is always exciting. I'm Mark Paton, Grid Network President, Co-Founder. I've been working with the team since day one, and we're really excited to be where we are. Our current, big adventure right now is decentralizing the network and getting alignment with all of our stakeholders across the board, including over the 150 games, dozens of protocols. And some great community members that are coming in early to really benefit and help us decentralize the network, but benefit from the rewards and everything that we're going to be producing at Grid Network on a go-forward basis through ownership of node licenses, which we're kind of at the finish line of closing out right now, but we've been successfully getting those into great people's hands for the past month. It's been pretty exciting.
Yeah, man. I ventured across you in Twitter and just kind of pinged you guys a few different places. We had other people ping you, and then it was we just got together and started talking, and a lot of stuff aligned. Obviously, decentralizing infrastructure is what we do, and helping node networks decentralize themselves is what we really want to push forward. And so it's kind of it's a marriage made, right? So let's work together. And we had calls, and our calls were like one of the most smooth calls that I've had with founders and CEOs and COOs of different companies. It just was, things were streamlined and going that route. So
exactly,
a lot of buzz on your
fully aligned. So
completely aligned. So a lot of buzz, around you guys, because there's there's keywords that get thrown around, or just partnerships, stuff like Amazon or Reddit and things like that. Can you touch on what those mean and what they are for Grid Network?
Sure. Maybe some helpful context is just what we're looking to build at Grid, right? And part of the reason I think we had such a productive conversation when we first met is because I think we're really aligned on our mission. At Grid, our network is really to be, our core goal of our network is to be a connective tissue between the entire ecosystem. And that means partnering with great infrastructure partners. We're a consumer-focused network, which means we're partnering with a lot of games, as that's the most mature consumer space in Web3 today. And we're also partnered with a lot of infrastructure protocols. So Polygon, Solana, Avalanche, Aptos, Sonic, all investors and core builders with Grid Network. And the reason that's important is because we're building a network that really connects and facilitates scale for the entire ecosystem. And one of the problems that we've seen over the past few years is we've been building and working very closely with protocol partners and game partners and all types of different partners in the space have been two core problems around distribution and user acquisition and scale around those two problems, right? So what we did is we tried building some Web3 native solutions over the past few years, and very quickly realized that while that's great and very helpful, the true unlock comes to bringing in partners outside of Web3. And we have a strong background in enterprise sales and enterprise building and enterprise work. My co-founder Jack has been working in companies like Lenovo his entire life. My background personally was running a trading desk for a tech-focused hedge fund, and as part of that, been very much in the trenches, understanding the front line of where consumers and technology have been going. And we built some great relationships in Web2. Two very notable ones being with Amazon.com and with Reddit.com. And because of those relationships, because of the problems we identified around distribution and user acquisition, we've had a multi-year journey of aligning those two parties with our core mission at Grid and the mission of all of our partners as well, to really help scale games, consumer applications all across the board into the hands of many users, many millions of users in Web2. Amazon is a really exciting example of that because they're the most scalable consumer marketplace in the world. And, of course, many people are able to sell things like a bike or a book, physical products on Amazon, but being able to sell digital-only products is a pretty big challenge. Requires a deep partnership and a lot of trust. It's obviously something you see perhaps with a Microsoft or an Adobe, but for a Web3 company to be doing it, it's a pretty big feat. So with Amazon specifically, we've built out a distribution pipeline with them that currently has a Game Pass for Grid Network on sale, which means you can buy something on a Web2 marketplace, Amazon, redeem digital credits in the Grid Network, and instantly be able to claim rewards from games across the entire Web3 ecosystem. So on any game from any chain. And what that does at a very practical level is it turns Amazon into a crypto on-ramp, an extremely scalable crypto on-ramp, and a crypto on-ramp that we're not only going to be using for our own success at Grid, but passing it on to all of our partners as well. So starting today, we have, of course, the ability to sell our digital products, but we're opening this up to every single one of our partners, our game partners, our infrastructure partners, and all the partners that are building with us, so they can access the distribution of the most scalable marketplace in the world. And this is very important because it allows people that are interested in entering, let's say the consumer side of Web3, without having to go through all the pains, hurdles, and trust issues of onboarding into crypto, navigating a really complex, highly gated environment, moving crypto between multiple wallets, different environments. It allows for a very simple entry point into the space.
I mean, that's the biggest hurdle for all of Web3, right? Is how do you bridge that gap from Web2 to Web3 in every aspect, whether it's DeFi, whether it's gaming. I'm a big gaming guy, obviously, too. So, it's that ability to make them see, a product that they want and use that product and not even know that it's Web3.
Exactly.
So
the core value proposition of Web3 is ownership. And that ownership does not necessarily require people to go through all of the pains that come with owning something on chain. It means providing them an easy way to actually own something is what we're really solving with Amazon. So you can just currently right now, go to Amazon, go to our just go to grid.network. You'll easily find yourself on Amazon.com sales page. And it's an example of what we're really building in the future, which is very scalable, very user-friendly, and an experience that people are currently familiar with in Web2 that's been very successful. We want to reproduce that at scale for every single one of our partners across every single blockchain ecosystem. So we're really taking the approach of breaking down walled gardens and making this available for everybody. Because in our view, the way that this space really wins is by expanding the size of the entire ecosystem and not really building up walled gardens and trying to keep people in one place. So we're really taking that approach of just making this a creative, very scalable solution for anyone, anywhere in the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I mean, Amazon, what a great place to do that.
You probably
can't find a better partnership than that.
No, it's been very helpful. One of the things that we've done is we've really targeted the Amazon Games team. Amazon's a huge ecosystem, and working with enterprises like that, it can be very challenging to find the right people that are willing to move quickly and take the right amount of risk with a partner like ourselves. But we've been able to align very deeply with the Amazon Games team, working very closely with the gentleman, William Morris there, who's one of our, become a very close advisor to us at Grid over time as well. So that we're positioning everyone that works with us for success and, aligning them with the missions that Amazon and other companies like Amazon have, because this is a repeatable exercise. And it sort of touches also on what we're doing with Reddit, right? Because one of the things right now in the space is, of course, people are really innovating on the Web3 side. But a lot of the innovation that has yet to come is how do we really scale this to practical Web2 applications and use cases. We look at Reddit as one of the most untapped marketplaces or consumer ecosystems for Web3 potential. Of course, you've seen Twitter's success and Discord's success. Reddit has hundreds of millions of weekly and monthly active users, numbers as high as 200 million weekly active users in some cases. And there are a lot of brands, communities, and products that are looking to activate Web3 style business models, or at least just strategies at very least. And it's hard to do when it requires any one of those individual products or communities or brands to do it all themselves. But when you create a repeatable, very sort of, plug-in solution for a bunch of brands through one marketplace like Reddit, it becomes very exciting. And an example of that is what we did with Jarritos last year. If you're familiar, I'm not sure how much you've seen about that yourself, but
Not the Doritos. No, I'm going to look it up right now.
So it's a cool activation. It's a small example of where we're taking this. So Reddit has a very big ecosystem of again, brands, products, and communities that are looking to get into Web3. And what they don't want to do are build all these solutions to bring their users in themselves. So what we did with Doritos is we built an experience where people could come out of the Doritos subreddit, go through our social platform, Grid Arena, and complete simple tasks like Twitter missions and things that are very easy to do, but also play games that have Doritos IP in them, win those games, win prizes, and through that process actually earn real on-chain rewards and real games and sometimes physical merchandise. And this is something that we can do with almost any partner in the Reddit ecosystem. And where it kind of comes full circle with Amazon is now we brought in, let's say, an excited Web2 user who's finally getting their feet wet in Web3. And instead of having to now, let's say, push them into the Web3 funnel of onboarding their crypto and getting, going through all the hurdles of owning something on chain, they can now simply just go to Amazon.com and purchase that asset with a credit card. And now you have a really scalable and repeatable experience that you can apply to any consumer brand, product, or community that's looking to scale a Web3 strategy. And that's how we're really viewing it. It's connecting some big puzzle pieces in Web2 and applying them directly to Web3 problems that need solutions today.
Yeah, it's extremely clean too. Like the throughput on that that's awesome. I mean, that's a great way to go about it. Love it.
Yeah, no, it's removing all of the things that are painful and giving all of the value, right? That ownership, that interoperability, and ability to, what we think is give the best consumer experience, which is owning something real that can be used in multiple environments. It gets you really close to the brand that you already love. So that's how we're viewing this.
Cool. A couple questions, like easy ones for you. Like, how long have you guys been building for?
We've been building since 2020, so it's been a long journey. Around 4 years now. Grid Network is effectively the culmination of a lot of the efforts we put in. We started building simple solutions for games, integrated wallet solutions, abstraction solutions, building games ourselves, and have come across all of these problems in every single one of those ventures. One of the things that we realize is if nobody's solving this problem, we understand it very much, very well ourselves, and who better than the Grid team to put it together.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we've landed on this network solution and creating a modular multi-chain network, which are definitely some technical words, but all it means is building an ecosystem where applications can live very, and be designed specifically for that consumer experience, right? Where they can be utilized in any ecosystem, any game or application can plug into them, and you can very, very quickly scale into places like Amazon or places like Reddit. We want to solve all of those problems for all of our partners and make it a very easy place to call home. And part of that journey also not restricting people from building anywhere else in the space. So we're very supportive of people building in other ecosystems. We just want to be a connective layer and solve those problems for everybody we work with.
It's amazing how you start to build something out and it opens up doors and opportunities in a completely different space. And then all of a sudden, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, you look back and you're like, dang, how did we get here? It's a different viewpoint. So I get that 100%. What chain are you guys? Is it Arbitrum? Is that what you guys are building on? Is that correct?
Yeah. So we're working with a few networks right now to call home. I don't want to speak prematurely about exactly what the mainnet architecture is going to look like. Will be an EVM compatible network.
We went down the route of where can we build what we need to build? What has the technology for us? What has the ease of use for our customer base? Everything else that goes on there. And we chose Avalanche on our end, but it was neck and neck. Arbitrum was right there with us with their subnets and that they were doing. So but yeah, I love to see people talk about why they're building, and it's really for the tech reasons, right? Because that's why we're really here. It's the technical side. Yeah, meme coins are fun and all this kind of thing that can happen. People make money, that's great, but the technology is amazing, and what we can do with it and build with it, that gets me excited to help support you guys even more, man.
They're spot on. And Avalanche is a fantastic ecosystem. They're actually, again, one of our investors and a core partner that we're building with. But what we don't want to lose sort of the forest for the trees here, right? Like the individual networks that are around today, the users and ecosystems inside of them are incredibly important and a very valuable part of the ecosystem. But the true value that we think we're unlocking is the users of tomorrow that truly do not really care too much about where their capital exists on what network, what token standard. What they really want is a very easy experience and be able to access the entire space through very few clicks. And that's what we're focused on. So that's our primary initiative, and all the technology that we're working with will be, in place to support that.
So nodes, you guys obviously have some node sale. You're season 1. Can you tell me a little bit about what you guys your goal is there in terms of the node sale and how that's going about?
Yeah, I'd say the core word we use is alignment. So we're looking to bring in stakeholders through buyers of our node licenses, and we're also working with all of the games and partners like yourself to make sure that you're operating nodes and have access to them as well, so that we can make sure that everyone that's supporting our growth are benefactors of the success that we bring down the road. And we think the best way to do that, we really love the node model for that reason. Circuit nodes are what we're selling. Circuit nodes are, it's effectively a license to operate a node in our network. The node licenses can be used for very simple things on day one, and over time, scale to more sophisticated activity like transactions, validation, cross-chain communication, scalability, execution of application logic in a decentralized environment. There are a vast array of applications and use cases for nodes in the ecosystem, but fundamentally, what they allow is for somebody to play a part in the decentralization and assembly of our network. And by doing that, we reward them with our native token at the end of the day, right? So the nodes themselves, we like to think of it almost as interesting analog. Think of it like a franchise, right? So there's only so many fries you can produce at one McDonald's, right? And if we want to be, providing an environment that's extremely scalable by allowing, all of our stakeholders to operate these nodes, it allows for a lot more power for our ecosystem to operate on, and gives us a lot more confidence in the security and decentralization of the network, which we think is over time going to be a critical component of our success. So by getting this alignment on day one and rewarding people for being part of that experience, we think that we're going to be creating one of the best alignment systems of all time through these node licenses for our users.
That's great. I like to hear that you guys are going to implement some actual utility with these nodes. Nodes in the network a lot of times are utilized as just ping nodes and don't really do a whole lot. So, but they do have the ability to do a lot of work. Like you actually can do, the amount of work that you can put onto a node. It's just hard. Some people just don't want to take the time to do that. And I'm excited to see what you guys can do with that. There's definitely a lot of opportunities with what you guys are building. So one of the big questions we get in the node itself and the node sales, KYC. Can you clarify what that is with you guys? Specifically, US-based customers are the ones that are really asking.
Yeah, so just to very directly, we are taking in US customers. We want US operators. We think the United States is one of the most untapped markets for real operations in Web3, largely because of the environment that's been around regulatorily wise for the past 8 years. But today and for the next hopefully several decades, we're seeing an extremely accommodating environment and landscape forming. So KYC really only applies to the token reward side of it. It means that we need to make sure that the people that are benefiting from our network are not bad actors. So the KYC that we're running for node rewards is basically just going to verify that you're not from a sanctioned nation by the United States or the United Nations, which are a very short list of countries, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone if you're not passing that that KYC. But our goal is basically to open this up as widely as we can. We're willing to take the appropriate amount of business risk to make sure that we can bring in as many people as possible to the ecosystem. But it'll be a pretty straightforward process, lighter than anything you probably have gone through if you're onboarding to a US crypto exchange, just verifying who you are and where you live.
Big question a lot of people are going to have is TGE. Is there stuff that you can, I get it if you don't have it, but love to know what you guys can say.
So I'll give some context and also relate to that very quickly. I've met with so many founders, and the number one mistake they will say is they announce the date. And if you're going through a sex launch environment, which we're considering, you don't want to announce a date until the centralized exchange that you're listing on has announced it publicly first themselves, right? So that's one thing that I think is really important, because you want to set the right expectations and make sure people don't feel like they're caught off guard. But what I can absolutely clarify here is it is our number one priority at the end of the sale is our TGE. So, we've built the applications, we've been building the network infrastructure. We have probably the strongest Web2 partnerships in the space, over 150 games in our quiver, 4 years of development in the background. So we feel very good about where we are today and very comfortable, making our priority on a go-forward basis 100% focused around the TGE event. So it is a short time frame as far as, what we expect to bring to market. But again, saying words like 30 days, 60 days, 120 days are dangerous things to say. All I can make very clear and give people confidence around is that it is our number one priority, alongside the finish of this node sale, is the TG event. And we've got some great partners, great exchanges, great relationships with every party we need to get that done. So we've been already working on this for over 6 months as far as the TG structure goes, and we're just finalizing all the minute details to make sure that everyone feels very good about the TGE itself, because you only really get one chance to do a TGE, and we don't want to do anything that's not going to sort of benefit everybody that's become a part of our ecosystem, specifically our node holders right now, which are our largest stakeholder group, as a result of selling close to 10,000 of these licenses over the past 30 days.
That's awesome. What's your number? I haven't looked in the last probably week. Where are you guys at?
I think we're close to 8,000. A lot of the licenses we're also allocating are for our infrastructure and protocol partners as well. So we want to make sure everyone is aligned. I mean, one of our core approaches to this, and our financing in general, has been making sure that people that we're building with are benefiting from our success. So that started on day one by making sure all of our game partners and infrastructure partners and protocol partners were able to get a bite of the apple. And of course, our early community being, the stakeholders through their node licenses being an example of that as well. So we have successfully been able to, allocate thousands of these licenses to who we think are going to be the best people to hold on to them. And anyone that's coming into this node sale, we think are, trendsetter type, very frontline minded people who we trust will, really be with us for the long run, and really happy to reward them as well.